Hi guys, my name is Jackie and we're from the Education Abroad office and we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about studying abroad. So I went to abroad in the spring semester of 2020. I went to Florence, Italy, and while I was there, I got to travel around a little bit. I got to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I went to Prague. I ate a lot of pizza. And then for the first week I was there, I got to live with a family. So I got to experience the culture by living with the host family. But then after that, I moved into an apartment in the city. So I got to experience a little bit of both.
Alrighty, guys. Hey, what's up? I'm Caesar. I also studied abroad. However, I did two programs, so that's why there's a lot of pictures. From the top left, kind of down, was my Argentina experience. I went out there with an exchange through ISEP. And then on the right down, I went to Caen, France, and I did an exchange out there through Lexington Sister Cities, which is an excellent scholarship program, a little bit competitive, but definitely worth looking at if someone's trying to look at France and language programs. I also just had very different experience, kind of how Jackie got to live with a family and then got to live in an apartment with friends. Bottom left is my Argentine family, which was we lived with an Argentine woman who took in a bunch of international students. So it was a big kind of melting pot of different cultures. And then top right is some of my friends that I lived with at the dorms. So completely different kind of vibe.
Just some quick facts about studying abroad. About 1,200 UK students study abroad each academic year. And we have a ton of programs in a ton of different countries. So, no matter what your major is, or no matter what type of experience you're trying to get while abroad, we definitely have a program that will suit for you. We also have a ton of scholarships, and um, it's pretty easy to get a scholarship. And if you put the time and effort into it, it will be something that you don't really have to worry about.
Awesome. So for some of the reasons of why to go abroad, I mean, if you even needed convincing, for example, you can understand global issues. I know that was a huge part for me studying in Argentina, getting to actually live around a culture that's different than your own. Bring classroom concepts into an international setting. Actually getting to study in a different country just brings a new kind of layer to your studies. For example, I study Latin American history and culture out there, and like getting to actually live it was part of that. Enhancing intercultural awareness and working with people from different backgrounds. I mean, you're going to be meeting people from all over the world, and although I want to say that I had a bunch of great experiences, in little moments of kind of, I don't want to say conflict, but confusion, coming together and understanding different perspectives is so important, and it's super easy to do when you're abroad. Become more adaptable and open-minded, as I said. Increasing independence. I mean, you just kind of go out there and you get to kind of live away from home, kind of on a different level than I would say college. And definitely you come out with a greater self-confidence.
And I think that everyone has a different reason for why they want to go abroad, and that can determine where they go and what type of experience they want to have. For me, I wanted to travel more and have like more self confidence and independence. So my program offered a lot of that. And then you don't just have to study abroad, though that is one of the most popular. There's also interning, service, research, and teach. And a lot of the times those programs can overlap. So you can do study abroad, but you can also do some service or research, whatever floats your boat.
Awesome. And then what the programs kind of look like depend. They vary kind of on independence mostly. That's kind of where I'll start. So from the left to the right, left being the kind of like least independent and the right being the most. So kind of dealing with like a virtual, that's where you take courses for another university and elsewhere in the world, but you're taking them from home. They're just online. Really good way to get those classroom concepts from like another university. Next, we go into faculty directed. That's where you go abroad, but with a UK faculty, and you go kind of with a group of UK students. And I suggest this a lot for students who aren't ready to go like kind of completely by themselves. It's a really good way to kind of have this group directed thing where you can kind of like always have someone with you. Really, really beneficial if you're kind of trying to ease into it. Partner programs, as Jackie mentioned that she had done, I believe you were kind of coordinate with it's like an outside partner that partners up with UK to do exchanges. Exchange is where you pay UK's tuition and you get to go over there to like a different university in a different country. Those are mostly the ones that I did. And then direct is where we kind of recommend this a lot to out of state students just because you tend to, so for direct programs, you pay directly to the university that you're going to abroad. So in some cases, it can turn out to be cheaper than UK's tuition if you're paying out of state. So that's why we recommend that to some students.
And then currently in the fall of 2020 and going on to the spring of 2021, we have the National Student Exchange, which is like studying abroad, but without going overseas. So we partner with Canada and some Latin American countries. So this is really good if you're uncomfortable with going overseas in the current time. And it's really good because you can gain cultural experience without like leaving international. It's also good to like investigate potential graduate schools. So if you have always wanted to live in Cincinnati, you can go ahead and do a semester there. Or if you've always wanted to see Seattle, you can go over there. It's good to network new job markets, and maybe if you're interested in different learning different languages, you can go up to Canada or learn Spanish in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I will say it's super important to kind of like consider that just because I didn't hear about NSC till a little bit later. And for example, my mom lives in Arizona, and just knowing that I could possibly do a semester out there is an incredible opportunity. Um, in terms of credit abroad, there's two kind of ways you can gain academic credit abroad. So one is taking UK courses, kind of how I mentioned. That's kind of like the faculty directed style where you're taking this UK class but abroad. And then the second one is transfer credit, where you're kind of taking these courses abroad, but they're their universities. So what you do is you find classes that can equate to it here at UK, and you kind of just equal them out. Um, and yeah,
Yeah, so an example of that was I took a lot of like my core classes there. I'm a social work major, so I took like the UK core classes, and one of the ones I needed was Philosophy 120, and I found a critical thinking course in Italy that worked for that course. So you just have to spend some time in the catalog looking through both and figuring out what will work. And then you also have to understand the finances when you're going abroad. At first, it can seem very intense and intimidating, but once you like look through the programs and figure it out, it will be a lot easier. All the education abroad program costs are posted online, and the current financial aid packages can apply to your education experience abroad. And there's also a ton of scholarships.
I will definitely add to that. I will kind of reiterate and kind of emphasize the fact that a lot of people tend to worry a lot about finances. That's like probably like number one worry when it comes to studying abroad. But I will say, as a first generation student who was completely had both of my opportunities funded by scholarships, it's super doable. You just have to kind of look for those scholarships. But we have a ton. So in terms of what the cost is, the answer is definitely it varies. As we mentioned earlier, in terms of like the different kind of programs that are offered, I mean, from just that alone to the actual country you're studying in, it will vary greatly. So we definitely recommend you mess around with our website in terms of like looking at the individual program costs. However, just some general fees that everybody always tends to have is going to be the UK application fee, the EA application fee. We have the administrative fee, and then the course EAP 599, which is kind of like a short course you take while you're abroad online for UK, and it's just kind of a way to kind of keep you grounded because it's really easy to kind of forget that you are a UK student when you're living in this other country. So it's a really good way to kind of monitor your progress, your growth, make sure you're okay, and you know how to handle certain situations. And then just an example of different costs that might be included is going to be like medical insurance, airfare, housing, meals, your passport and visa, and program fees. Those all vary. In terms of airfare, I will say though, we always just offer estimations. I have been able to find really cheap flights. It's super. It varies a lot. I was able to find a $300 flight from Chicago to Paris for my France program. So just a heads up, it's not always as expensive as you think.
So now is a perfect time to start figuring out what you want to do. The planning process, you want to attend the first step meeting and then think about if you need a passport. It's always a good idea to talk to people who have already studied abroad so you can get a better understanding of where you want to go, what you want to do, um, and that kind of things, what types of classes you need to take. And then you're going to want to meet with your academic advisor so you can figure out when in your time in undergrad is a good time to go. A lot of people go second semester, first semester of their junior year. I went my sophomore year and it all worked out. And then you're going to want to apply to the programs and apply for scholarships. And then the best part is purchasing your airline ticket. And I'm gonna show you guys how to use our website a little bit. So it's UKY Study Abroad. It looks like this. So first, this button right here is how you're going to get to talk to the EPAs, the students who have been abroad and want to share their experiences or get more specific answers to your questions. All the times are right here, and you can just join the session. Right here, after you talk to like a student, you can schedule your appointment with an advisor, and it will show you right here which areas they advise for which major. You can also go ahead and browse the different scholarships. Those are all right here. You can just apply and scroll through, and it shows all the different scholarships. And I definitely recommend spending a lot of time looking here. These are just like a fraction of the scholarships available. If you want to do like a quick Google search, more will come up. And then my favorite part is up at the top, it's the program search. And you can search by when you want to go, like what term, spring, summer, fall. You can search by what country you want to go to, and all the different countries are listed here. And then also by the area of study. So if you want to go based on your major to look at different programs that way. I like to look at the different countries. I'm going to pick Italy. And it will show you all the different programs. So it will show you if it's a virtual option, direct, faculty directed, exchange, and so on. It will also show you where in the country it is, or where in the world if you're not searching by country. I'm gonna go ahead and show this exchange one. And it will give you all the basic information on the program. See, it says like automatic scholarship available. Amazing. That's perfect. And it'll show you the different locations, so where it is in Italy, the academics, so the different types of things you can study, and it will take you to their online courses. It will also show you the costs and scholarships. This is for how much it is in the fall for a resident and then an out-of-state student. So I definitely recommend spending a lot of time on these pages so you can figure out what types of programs you want to do. So back to the slideshow.
So I'll just jump right in. In terms of health, safety, and security, considering me and Jackie both were students studying during the initial like part of the pandemic this past spring, I think one thing that I can speak for is definitely saying how well UK does to kind of like monitor our safety. I mean, throughout the whole thing, I mean, before the pandemic, we were always receiving kind of like alerts on situations going on around the area that you're studying in, whether it's small things like going on in the government to just anything in general. You'll always get those alerts. I know in Argentina I even got them for surrounding countries, so that was really beneficial. They're definitely like you'll be provided with travel medical insurance while abroad, and they really do a good job of helping you kind of like be able to access those. I know from like little things when I was in Argentina for like even just getting sick, being able to know that I can go and where to go to get those health services. And then lastly, UK has an established international crisis response protocol. They really did a great job to get us back home safely during the beginning of the pandemic. So not that I know of some people that might be like a second worry after financials is, safety abroad. I know parents tend to worry about that, but we just wanted to emphasize how UK does a really good job about that.
Then here are the times for the first step meetings. These are bound to change at some point. So I would recommend going online and making sure that there is a time. It's going to be the same with the drop-in hours. They're also posted online if these aren't correct. And then the chat with the eBuzz. So if you have any questions, we definitely recommend popping into our office hours. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, like we mentioned, those EPA hours range, but we have a bunch. If it's not me or Jackie, it's definitely some of our other EPAs, and we're always just chilling in there, ready to answer you guys' questions, whether it's program specific questions or anything on the website to just random questions you guys might have about our experiences. So feel free to pop in.
Yeah, I hope we convince some of you guys to go abroad, and if not, have some questions about it. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you.